Joining us now is Ani Eze Osakwe, with stories trending around the world. Hello, Ani.
Hello, good morning, Dr. Abati.
Don't mind us.
I know, having a laugh.
I think you should ask them to spill the beans.
Right? Okay. I don't know if this is the appropriate place.
There's no big deal about the beans now.
Okay.
What Dr. Abati is talking about the GDP of the oldest industry in the world. He's going to review a book about the GDP of the oldest industry in the world.
Any guesses?
What's that woman's industry? Madam what?
You are your own.
All right. I'm good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Good, and you? Rufai? I'm doing well.
When I started calling you, I'm sure people have been calling you that.
Yes, I've been seeing.
Pride of
It's my new title.
Yes.
Okay. Pride of
I love it.
That's cool.
Okay, so good morning to everyone out there watching. Thank you all for starting your day with us. So we start what's trending today with a story that we've been really following over the last few days, because we're now seeing the official first appearance of Comfort Emanson. So the Ibom Air passenger who was removed from the plane after the airline said she refused to switch off her phone. So after an order from the Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, just yesterday, here she is, released from the Kirikiri prison just hours later, while her family covered her from the press. We also heard from her in a first post on Instagram, where she thanked everyone for the prayers, love, and support, adding, "I've been released, but I'm still in pain due to how I was treated. I just need some rest, some medical treatment before I give out my own version of the event." And now that she's been released, it's key that we still follow this story for any updates. In that post, you see how she's now focused on healing and physically, both physically and emotionally. So, Dr. Abati, I'll start with you. I mean, we talked so much about this story, but at this point today, what's your reaction to this?
Well, it looks like it's still a developing story. Earlier this morning, I was saying that some of the headlines indicate that there is a controversy among lawyers and aviation experts as to how the matter has been handled so far. Some people are alleging that, our federal government acted unilaterally, that the airline operators of Nigeria had no powers to have slammed down with a lifetime ban, and 3, that the Minister of Aviation was not in a position to take a decision to say, community service will mean that, we make Kwam1 an ambassador, even if people think the word ambassador means something. And I was saying, look, in some other places, when you commit an infraction, they can say, okay, community service, but that community service, there's a certain form that it takes. It's not about calling you an ambassador, and tomorrow Kwam1 will go and create a content, calling himself Ambassador Kwam1, and will turn the thing around, and Rufai will sit down here and he will say, Ambassador, Abuja Talo, Tambolono, also Wadawaso, Ambassador, Talaso Fuji, Mani Fowoche, Mani Fowoche. The whole thing will become, this thing will become comical and ridiculous. The point we're making is that, look, there should be standards. There should be due process. And there should be equality of persons before the law. As for Ms. Emanson, who has now been comforted after public outcry. Well, she says she wants to heal fully, attend to emotional trauma and all that. But what we are saying is that she has rights under the law to press charges. The random violation of her rights, and there are lawyers who have said, well, they are ready to defend her pro bono, represent her pro bono, if she herself is willing to push the button and say that she has been unfairly treated. We have made the point about right to fair hearing. Now that she's recovering, when she recovers fully, I'm sure that Nigerians would like to hear our own side of the story. Now, the people covering her face, they didn't need to cover her face. She's a known person. In fact, already, some people have seen them on social media, on Instagram. They are looking for her. Some people in Delta State are already inviting her to come and attend programs and spend the weekend. Somebody has already offered to place her on a salary of 500,000 naira, every month. You see, the Lord works in mysterious ways. they may have created opportunities for her by trying to put her down. So you think you are pulling somebody down, you create market for that person. However, the big lesson here is about what the minister said, that there will be a retreat. And all the stakeholders will learn lessons from the experience. And it's not just the people in the aviation sector, even ordinary passengers. The "do you know who I am" crowd, they all have an opportunity now to learn lessons. For all of us to realize that where your right begins is where another person's right ends, and where the right of another person ends is where another person's right begins. In other words, we live in an interdependent ecosystem, and people must just respect the rule of law and respect, where it comes to aviation, the right of other people to be safe. Yeah. Whether you are a prince or a plebeian, or you are a chief, or you are a community leader, all of us must be governed under the same rule of law, and there must be no preferential treatment.
Absolutely. So now let's take another story, because as of now, there's a shocking new video that's being circulated online where you see a group of children being hit by an adult man, and people are reacting horrified by what they see. So let's play a portion of that video and discuss it on the other side.
They bring these children, only God knows if they kidnapped these children or whatever, I don't know. This is supposed to be a church. In that basin, they'll flog these children, naked them, both boys and girls, flog these children, and this is day 3.
So in a post on X from NAPTIP, which is the Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking, they say, thank you for all the tags. This specific incident has been reported to our Port Harcourt command, and it's being investigated immediately. So one person reacted to this video saying, "Geez, I couldn't even watch it completely. It's so disturbing, they need to be stopped." Another person saying, "Illiteracy, ignorance, and a lack of exposure." And in this video, they say that this allegedly happened in Eneka, in PH. So, we blurred the video because it is very graphic if we were to show it without the blur. But Vimbai, I'll take your general reaction to this first, and them saying that this is apparently a church.
Yeah, and also they're minors, so it's important to protect their identities. Goodness, I cannot understand what's happening here. I don't want to delve into the realm of speculation, because people are calling it different things. I also saw some people saying that it's rituals. There have been so many narratives created around this, and we don't have the clarity of that just yet, unless somebody has spoken out. However, what is very clear here is that there is inhumane, abusive treatment towards minors. That's what we need to take away from this. So I don't think we should cover it under the umbrella of any organization and give it merit and give it credence and say that, oh, there's an organization that does this and this and this. Because what's happening here is abuse. And unfortunately, we see a lot of this, especially when you go out into the outskirts, into the more rural areas of Nigeria. You see that especially, children, young women, in many instances, once you're poor, it's almost like you're condemned by society and you're exposed to this type of treatment. Again, for me, it's difficult to further comment without really knowing, what's going on there. As somebody also said, it's a school. There's so much speculation around it, but I hope we're able to get into it. Or if anybody else has more information, at least it's out there now, to really understand what's happening in this place, because those people involved need to be arrested. And the whole thing needs to be investigated, and those poor children need to be rehabilitated. They need counseling. They need to be put in a safe environment. Hopefully, they'll be able to narrate what they're going through, how they ended up in this situation, so that we can prevent it. Because there are stories about things like baby factories and so forth in different parts of the country. So you hope that this is not a replica of something that's happening elsewhere, and that it's not part of a a tradition of a certain group of people who, who enjoy taking advantage of children in this way. So for me, it's just inhumane.
Rufai, do you have any?
I mean, it's a sad one that we can even have a country where people take advantage of children this way. But like I always say, it's also a culture. It's a culture that we've built over the years where people are quick to hit. It's in this country that people say they are performing a spiritual rite to cast out demons from people and they beat them. In some cases, they even lacerate their bodies. Same in this country. It's in this country we see people high up there. You look at the way they treat their domestic staff. This country. So we have a culture of hitting people. I mean, it's in this country, a top politician, in fact, a governorship candidate in the state, alluded to the fact that he beat somebody. In fact, he used the word with a beat. On live interview, he said he did beat somebody to reset his brain. Yes, I mean, we've heard when people say things like, oh, I would slap you to autocorrect your head. So we are so quick to hit. But does it make it right? No. It's become a cultural thing. And that's why when you look at the Ibom incident, it was so easy for slaps to fly out quickly. And that's why when we have a dial back, so what kind of society do we want? Yes, action and reaction are equal and opposite. We've been able to dial back to see that, and we've got some evidence from people that were in the flight, anyway, anecdotal evidence, that, oh, there might have been a provocation first. But the question we should ask is, did the provocation warrant the slaps, the pulling somebody out that way, the deliberate act? So for the upton time, people have gone to analyze that video. So there was a deliberate attempt by the member of the crew of Ibom Air to actually expose that woman's assets, and it was a wrong one. So they have analyzed the video over and over and over again, and you can see the deliberate act. So in the rage of something, your act is to deliberately expose and get somebody naked. I mean, this is the same country where we see that people fight in public and they're so quick to tear themselves into nakedness. So there's something culturally wrong with our psychology. I don't know, maybe, I don't want to say it came from a place of colonialism, because we've long gone out, but there's a cultural mindset of abuse. We're so quick to hit. We're so quick to beat. Be it children, be it adults, be it everything. There are a couple of men that shout, oh, I am this in society, and they beat their wives in the homes. They've slapped, if their wives say anything, they backhand, bah, they slap their wives. And these are the men that are leading society. So that's the kind of country we've built. And except we try to change that culture that is no longer tenable, nothing will happen.
Well, the issue in Port Harcourt, very simply, minors are involved, you said. Now, there's something in Nigeria called the Child Rights Act of 2003, to which, almost all the 36 states and the FCT now have, signed and adopted and domesticated, which means that it is interesting that in the case in Port Harcourt, that NAPTIP, that's the Agency Against the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, has taken an interest in the matter, and the police command have said that they are investigating this. So the thing to do is to ensure that whether it's an adult or a minor, there are enabling laws under which the rights of those persons can be upheld. There is also the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act of Nigeria, although, some analysis say that it's more operative in the Federal Capital Territory. But the spirit of the law, what is called the spirit of the law, is that nobody, whether minor or adult, should have their rights to dignity as a human being derogated from. And so when you brutalize children, whether they are male or female, the law should take its course. What we expect is that in this particular case, that NAPTIP says they are interested in this particular story, and the police command say that they are already investigating. We would like to see the outcome. And that persons who have brutalized other persons and dehumanize them should be sanctioned accordingly. This is the whole thing we say here about equality of persons before the law. And the state has a responsibility to defend everybody under this territory called Nigeria.
Absolutely. Keep watching that one as well. So let's now turn our focus to Delta State, to Ethiopia East local government to be exact. Because a resident there, Aki Efe Vincent, is now alleging that the local government chairman, Augustine Ogedegbe, is threatening his life after he posted videos calling out the bad roads in his community. Let's listen to what he had to say.
The Ethiopia East local government chairman just came to my place to warn my family, warn my wife, my children that I should drop all the video, else he will deal with me. What I did is my legitimate rights.
Let's also just play the first video Efe posted, where he talks about how the roads in a flooded section of Ovu community could be fixed in just 2 or 3 months.
If you take 0.01 out of it, it's enough to tie this road. To whom much is given, much is expected. You can't tell me that I'm insulting a local government chairman when I'm telling him to do what he's supposed to do. The money that he's receiving from the federal government is enough to solve this problem. Must he stay there for 4 years before they can get to solve a problem like this? You are telling me that it's just 1 year in office. So must he spend the 4 years before they can do something like this?
So we haven't yet seen a statement or response from the local government chairman himself, but people have been responding to Efe's videos. They've called him brave. They've thanked him for speaking up. Dr. Abati, I'll start with you. What do you think all of this says about the dynamic between people and the leaders that should be working for them?
Well, the first principle is that leaders, those in government, they are accountable to the people. And the people also have rights under the Constitution, the freedom of expression, Section 39 thereof. And so, when we have citizens taking action, there's also something under the Police Act known as citizen action, which means that a citizen can speak up. However, the problem we have here is that when a citizen speaks up, as this gentleman is doing in this video, as others like him have also done before now, what happens is that they get intimidated, they get harassed. In fact, there is a particular gentleman who criticized a certain state governor. He disappeared. Up to today, nobody has found him. He disappeared without trace. There is the case of an NYSC lady. I think you brought that story. You know, Raye or so, is that the name? That, okay, she criticized the Tinubu government. Now she cannot get her discharge certificate. They will tell her, go and come, go and come. You didn't do biometric verification. And the girl says she's always made herself available for biometric verification. For us to have a good society where the common good prevails, it must be possible for citizens, whatever may be their station, to be able to express themselves without being discriminated against. After all, Section 42 of the 1999 Constitution forbids discrimination. You cannot be discriminated against on the basis of expressing your views. And this gentleman is saying the local government chairman is threatening his family and threatening him too. No. What is the name of that local government chairman? I think we should call him out properly. Austin Ogedegbe, that's the correct pronunciation. Whatever local government it is, he has no right to threaten or harass anybody. And if he has anything to say in his own defense, to deny, he also has every right to say so. But we just say that this should not be a pattern where people express themselves, they ask questions, they hold people in positions of authority accountable, and what they get is harassment. So, Chairman Austin Ogedegbe, please, somebody has called you out, you know, one of your constituents, you have the right to defend yourself, and we would like to hear from you.
Absolutely. Bye.
Very quickly, the local government is supposed to be the tier of government that's closest to the people. This is the place you're supposed to be able to go to express yourself, and this is a place that's also supposed to directly address people at the grass. That's why we call it the grassroots tier. Now, if at that tier you are just doing local government, you have not risen to the next tier. You're not yet in the State House of Assembly. You're not yet in the House of Reps or the National Assembly. You're not a governor. You're not in federal. If you haven't risen up the ladder, the hierarchy of governance, and at this level, you cannot tolerate feedback that is a problem. That's a sign of a deeper issue. I hope the gentleman involved does have some sort of evidence that can corroborate the fact that he was threatened, because that's also important for us to be able to stand by that. However, the fact that at the tier of government that's supposed to be relating with people on a daily basis, there's already big manism. This big manism continues to creep up. Earlier today, I broke down just some of the things that we're failing at, that if we correct them, so life would be a lot smoother. One of them is elite impunity. Local government is elite in its own context. And you're already oppressing the people beneath you. Just one, one layer between you and the people. That's very unfortunate. The grievance is genuine. If it can't be addressed immediately, if there are no funds or whatever it is, address it in a humane way. There's no need to threaten. There's no need to resort to intimidating people who are clearly frustrated. Right now, we're living in a pressure cooker. It's tough. We all have, whether it be from, electricity to school fees to whatever, people are dealing with a lot right now. So the very least our leaders can do is just show a little bit of compassion.
Absolutely.
So, like I said before, see, all of this is a cultural problem. We just have that culture of impunity. Is it not in this country, Dr. Abati, you and I, somebody was caught on camera committing a crime. When people say it, you know what the person said? He sent his lawyers to write people that might say it on air that he was committing a crime, that they've not been convicted, that they should cease and desist. The person is a top politician. Till today, nothing has happened to him. In fact, let me even say, it was in this country, Dr. Abati, you and I, somebody of blessed memories, because you criticized him in a column, started fighting you. You remember.
People are always fighting.
I'm used to it. See, we remember. No, this person particularly. We don't want to because he's passed now. But you and I know that person. But these are the same people that say, oh, criticize me, bring it. But they can't take the criticism. You know why they can't take the criticism? Because they think they are God. An average Nigerian leader, once he gets to the point of leadership, thinks he's God. That's why he can't take the criticism. So for him, he likes people that will pamper his ego. He likes people that will say he's the best thing ever, because he assumes the position of God. So when you criticize, it is an aberration to them. And because we also have a society, because of poor economy and all of that, a lot of people have known this. So they are so quick to be a bandwagon, to be praising them. So when you stand the point and you criticize them, you become an aberration. So I'm sure probably, I don't know what transpired, and the local commissioner have the right of reply. I'm sure probably, as in the case that happens in all Nigeria's case, what will happen is that they will look and say, who is this idiot that has the temerity to go and say, I didn't do the road? Must be an idiot. Because he forgets that he is there to serve the people. But what do you expect? In a country where people will give people guns to kill people because they want to serve the same people they are killing, and they tell you service. So it's a cultural, there's a misalignment. But we must constantly call them out and tell them the way it is.
Absolutely. We'll keep watching that one also to see if we get a response from the local government chairman. So as of now, the Federal Polytechnic College in Bauchi, or Bauchi Poly, is under lockdown after students took to protest over repeated robberies on campus. So the school students decided to speak out after thieves reportedly attacked their hostels, stealing gadgets, and even leaving some students injured earlier this week. So because of that, the students say they decided to protest because, according to them, the school didn't do enough to protect them from insecurity. The protest got pretty tense, as you can see, and police were also called to the scene. And now, 48 students have been arrested. And let's stay on that university thread for just one moment, because what's happening at Bauchi Poly comes as the Nigerian government has also just imposed a 7-year ban on the establishment of any new public universities. So according to the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, the purpose of this ban is to stop the deterioration of already existing schools. The announcement itself came just yesterday, with Alausa adding that putting this freeze on new schools will allow the government to upgrade facilities and hire qualified staff. I feel like there's so much that could be discussed when it comes to the state of education in this country, but we'll stick with just these two stories for now. Dr. Abati, I'll start with you. How are you seeing these two stories together?
I'll be very brief. Once upon a time in this country, we had what they call the Safe Schools Initiative, which the government of Nigeria was doing in collaboration with then Prime Minister Gordon Brown of the United Kingdom. And the whole idea was that schools should be kept safe. Even something as basic as perimeter fencing for secondary schools. Is Bauchi State today. At some other times it was in Kaduna State. At some other time it was some other states, where schools were attacked, whether polytechnic or secondary schools. Students were adopted from Dapchi. They were adopted, they were kidnapped from Chibok. All about making schools safe. I think schools should be made safe. Nigeria needs to return to that project. And it's unfortunate that even at the polytechnic level, a whole polytechnic of adult students, they are having people coming to steal from them. They were very lucky. They could have been kidnapped. And that's what we will have been talking about. So keeping schools safe, either in the north or in the south, is an important project for Nigeria to consider. And that should be a priority for both federal government and state governments. That's that about that. The second one is that the federal government of Nigeria has about 72 federal universities, about 42 polytechnics, about 69 colleges of education. In total, we have 199 universities. And Dr. Alausa was saying that out of these 199 universities, last year, the year 2024, 100 of them, about 100 of those universities, didn't get more than 100 applications. 34 universities received 0 allocations. The polytechnics are about 295. Over 64 of them did not even have any student applying to them, not to talk of the population of state polytechnics, state universities that you have. And it's on the basis of this that he was now saying, after Federal Executive Council meeting yesterday, that government has now decided to place a moratorium on the proliferation of universities. However, that same yesterday at the Federal Executive Council, this same administration approved 9 universities, additional. But the argument is that when the Tinubu administration got there, they inherited 551 applications that were pending. Out of those applications, over 60 of them, pending for about 6 months, have already been approved. Infrastructure had been put in place. It was out of those ones that they now said 9 more. And then they say, after that, no more. If you add up the numbers, the main point of the Minister of Education, that's Minister Tunji Alausa, Dr. Tunji Alausa, is that we have more universities than students. And it's not even a question of access. Many of these universities are dilapidated. Go and look at students' hostels at the University of Ibadan. You will not even allow your dog to sleep in some of those hostels. Now, these universities, they are not getting admissions. They have no carrying capacity. So people, individuals just go and apply. Everybody wants to set up a university. It has become an ego project, a white elephant project for the states. Every governor wants to. Some states have up to 3 universities that they cannot fund. So it's a very ridiculous situation. And I think that it's important that the federal government is going to address this, to say, for the next 7 years, let nobody bring any application for any university or college of education or monotechnic, where they can't even provide facilities for the students. And it's not as if the products of these institutions are good for the market. In many establishments in this country, you have to retrain the graduates that are coming, graduates that cannot even write a successful paragraph or speak English for 5 minutes without causing chaos, verbal diarrhea, linguistic somersault. So this is a challenge that we face in this country, and I think it's good that the federal government is taking a look at this very serious problem. Absolutely. The only problem is about federalism. Can the federal government of Nigeria, give that order and extend it to the states?
Right.
Because the states are also supposed to be federating units, not that the federal government can just give an order through the Minister of Information.
Absolutely. I'll be remembering linguistic somersaults for a very long time. So, for our next story, let's go to Lagos for what sounds like it should be a pleasant experience, a cake picnic. So it's an event that started about a year ago in California. People come together, everyone brings cake. Once the cakes are set up, they take pictures, and in small groups, people go and take slices of whichever cakes they want. Easy enough. Once everyone has had their own turn, people then can go for more cake until it's finished. This has happened in London, it's happened in Los Angeles, and now it happened in Lagos. But when the event happened here, things got a little chaotic. Let's take a look at the video.
All the time, I'm grateful all the time. I'm sexy and I'm kind. I'm pretty when I cry.
Essentially, it became very chaotic. People were grabbing cake. People were, shuffling each other, pushing each other. It was a very intense scene, and the reactions online were swift. One person saying, "What will happen if all of these people are in government?" Another person saying, "Wow, what can we call this? Hunger?" The popular food content creator Opeyemi weighed in himself. Let's see what he had to say after seeing that video.
Other countries, they've done their own. Other countries, in every video I've seen of other countries doing cake events, it will make you want to do your own. I think Ghana has done it once, I think. I can swear I've seen Ghana do theirs, and it was smooth, it was normal. The white people's own, they were, showing cakes and then we reached Nigeria. Whose fault is it? You spoiled it. Whose fault is it? Is it Tinubu's? Whose fault is it? Is it Tinubu's fault? Other countries, they've done their own. Other countries, in every video I've seen of other countries doing cake events, it will make you want to do your own. I think Ghana has done it once, I think. I can swear I've seen Ghana.
So we'll see how, if Cake Picnic ever comes back to Lagos. So now to some good news, because if you have a TikTok account, chances are you know a content creator whose name is Bemi Orojuogun, or the London Bus Auntie. She's become known for posting videos of herself in front of those big red iconic London buses, smiling on different days. Well, now she's been tapped as the new face of the British luxury brand Burberry. It's all part of Burberry's new campaign called Back to the City, which is an homage of sorts to London, celebrating the city through and through. And in the campaign, she, along with others, ride these big red buses around the city, admiring sights and sounds. To date, she has had over 280,000 followers, with some of her videos having almost 50 million likes. Big congratulations to Auntie Bemi on her new campaign with Burberry. What an achievement from just a few TikTok videos.
I mean, that's so lovely.
Yeah.
That's so lovely. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Annie. And by the way, a certain Mr. Augustine Ogedegbe has been calling my line. So that must be the local government chairman we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, he has the right of reply.
Wow.
If he has a story to tell. He
Absolutely.
can come and tell us about that route in his local government area.
Definitely.
Give his own side of the story. Thank you very much, Annie.